Let me ask you something. Did you ever think, whoa, what if Pokemon were like real-life animals? Wouldn't that be super cool? I'm sure most Pokemon fans have at least once in their life thought about this possibility. You know, like you may have thought about which starter you were going to use, or which companion you'll have right on your shoulder, or maybe about the dangers of having a literal fire-breathing dragon just destroying everything, or how about something like Gyarados, like a sea serpent going on angry rampages all throughout the ocean? Well, that's what I'm going to analyze today. Well, sort of. Hi, welcome to my series. In this series, we analyze Pokemon, then with the information that we know, we'll grab an animal, extinct, alive, really doesn't matter, then that animal is going to go on a what-if evolutionary path, where it will gain the features of a Pokemon. Of course, it won't be a Pokemon, it'll just be an animal in our world that'll look like a Pokemon. So it's almost like a Pokemon, you feeling me? Look, our world has some amazing and wacky things in it already, so using the power of natural selection, you can conjure up a lot of weird stuff. Naturally though, due to the magical and often weird nature of a lot of Pokemon, that means that some are going to be harder to recreate than others. Like, moving things with your mind in real life isn't really possible, right? Well, what if you make them believe that it's possible? Plug. But anyway, we're going to be covering Tropius today, which was chosen by the patrons last time. You know, Tropius, the sauropod that flies. As if that's possible. Or is it? Well, probably not. Or is it? No. Or, well, either way, I got something cool in mind, so let's dive in. Ah yes, sauropods, you know, the long-necked ones. We saw them in our media, we read about them in our books, they're pretty much everywhere and most people know about them. Like, okay, imagine a building, yeah? You got that building in your head? Okay, now imagine the building walking and sucking up leaves like a vacuum cleaner. That's a sauropod. They're awesome. Except Tropius is like very small for a sauropod. It's like 2 meters in height, which is like, it's like baby sizes. It's baby sizes for literal walking buildings. It also flies? Yeah, Tropius flies. Okay, so we got a flying sauropod, which already isn't possible. Like, I don't need to be an expert to tell you that. I'm sure most people know that sauropods probably don't have the biology to fly. But also, if we're going to assume that those wings Tropius has are its limbs, then we're working with an 8-limbed sauropod that can fly. Like, no, I mean, come on, common sense. That thing cannot fly whatsoever. But surely, Prima, you're asking, there's at least one sauropod species we can sort of turn into Tropius, right? I mean, those wings, they don't really need to be wings. There just has to be something on the animal that resembles those wings. Plus, Tropius flying is kind of stupid anyway. It's got that long neck. Like, okay, long necks means that you want to go up higher to eat something. So why would you have wings on top of that as well? Like, they both do the same thing. When have I ever used any animal that you all expected? Going with a sauropod. I'm not Miss Obvious now, am I? Quick spoiler alert though, but those wings that Tropius has, yeah, they could only really work as some type of mating display that only the males would have. Sure, one could shrink it and call it moss, but having it fully formed, at least somewhat, on a creature for mating display reasons, yeah, that could work. Have you ever seen how weird some animals get with this? Specifically birds who are, again, modern-day dinosaurs themselves. Many dinosaurs back then had feathers. Some even had weird places to have feathers. Like these feathers would be all over the place. They would be in super bright colors. And since we know how birds act nowadays, and how many of them develop these weird structures and bright feathers for the specific purposes of luring a mate, yeah, it's not odd at all to point out that maybe dinosaurs back then did the same thing. With sauropods, it's likely that they had some sort of mating display, but not anywhere near as extreme as birds or even some other dinosaurs. Nor did they have feathers. Don't get me wrong, I love the idea of a fluffy, fuzzy sauropod, but it's pretty much a no-no for sauropods altogether. They were just too big, really, and plumage was often just used for good insulation. Okay, so imagine if the whole sauropod thing was being done by another group of animals. You know, like how dolphins and sharks, I mean, look at them, they look very similar, but they're not at all closely related to each other whatsoever. That's called convergent evolution. Theropod dinosaurs, you know, your raptors, your T-Rexes, and even your birds today, along with sauropods, both belong in one of the two big groups of dinosaurs, and these ones belong in the Sauriscia group. You also got your Ornithischia group, which is the other one, which has your Triceratops and your Stegosaurus. And we know for a fact that theropod dinosaurs were amongst the fluffiest of dinos. Like seriously, they were so fluffy. Just look at this plumage Dinocaius. Yeah, it looks super cute, doesn't it? I mean, that doesn't stop it from clawing out your eyes and eating your flesh, but look at the cute fuzzy dinosaur, isn't it so adorable? Before we use another group of animals instead of sauropods, it's important to know why they were so successful, and that is because of their huge size, obviously, but also their long necks, which means that they didn't have to move as much while eating. And chewing isn't also something they did, along with laying lots of babies while not putting in the energy to raise them. Yeah, it sounds heartless to us, but for them it worked out really well. Their lungs were also super helpful, as their bird-like lungs, present in all dinosaurs and pterosaurs, really helped them with their efficiency. Lastly, their size helped enormously due to their light bones, which all dinosaurs have, along with pterosaurs as well. It made it much easier for them to obtain that size, to help protect them from predators and reach higher up than any before. Wow, you know, all those features can be easily obtainable by non-sauropod dinosaurs. Okay, so let's go with something like Coelophysoidea. These are one of the earliest theropod dinosaurs that lived during the late Triassic and early Jurassic. For these animals to evolve into something similar to sauropods, we need sauropods to either not exist, exist less, or not be as successful when evolving. And how do you make a group of animals do that? Well, with a mass extinction, of course. Lots of animals dying so that one group can take over. That's always fun. Death and stuff. Woo! Oh my gosh, Prima, are you going to root of mass extinction again to make your evolutions happen? Yes. Look, we're doing this the most realistic way, alright? Not necessarily the most fun or innovative. We just need to get where we need to get. The methods used and paths taken don't matter. This is speculative evolution, not sci-fi or creature design, so we gotta be realistic about this. The Triassic-Jurassic extinction event will be utilized here, where a lot, well, died, specifically these animals. Carnage. Alright, so in this situation, things will play out a bit differently. Like, let's say the sauropods are missing some type of evolutionary component that they need to be as successful as they were. After all, evolution is like the flip of a coin. Anything can happen. So, you know, evolution really doesn't have to be kind of stupid funny. I gotta not make that noise. Meanwhile, our group of early theropods will evolve to be more like sauropods, by snacking on leaves and just in general adapting their niche. Who knows why? Like, you could say, oh, it's because carnivores are stronger and they're outcompeting them, or maybe they're becoming omnivorous first and then herbivorous. It doesn't really matter. They just get to that point and they just take over the niche. Either way, they're gonna look like really weird sauropods. Theropod's first sauropod. They may not be as successful as sauropods were, or will be, and they might only be around for a little bit, but lots of interesting and weird animals evolve right after a mass extinction, as the time for experimentation is very high during that time. I mean, honestly, isn't that already what Tropius kind of is? It's just a weird sauropod. It's got no tail, it's got very short legs, but it still looks mostly like a sauropod. Like, the color of Tropius is fine, it's just that the wings and the banana-like thing under its chin are the main problems. It's not really as complicated as Charizard or even Magnezone. Anyway, luck is on our side once again, as around this time Pangaea, the supercontinent, started splitting apart, creating many different islands and landmasses around the world in the process. And we're gonna need islands for this Tropius-like animal to happen, exactly because of those wings, and the banana chin thing. You see, islands can offer many unique evolutionary things to happen to animals that live on them. Because they're isolated from the mainland, they don't have to worry as much about being outcompeted by others, and can pretty much just do their own thing. This isn't true for all, of course, but it's often the thing on islands. A sauropod-like creature developing some sort of wing structure on its back, whether that be for insulation or sexual display, already sounds really strange as is. But if you add a just happened extinction event onto it, along with an island, both giving an animal immense potential for weird evolution, then yeah, you may just be able to make it happen. Insulation may very well be something these animals could evolve, as they would be very small sauropod-like creatures, only at around 2 meters in height. Alright, let's say that all of them have greenish feathery fluff on their backs that trails until their heads, covering their heads a bit, with their backs being the most full. This would be useful for camouflaging themselves in the plants, along with their brown color for doing the same around ground. Naturally, this means that there would be bigger predators than them on the island, and since a lot of dinosaurs were freaking massive, yeah, not too unrealistic. Males, on the other hand, would have a bit more fluff, specifically big tufts on their back, almost resembling some type of wings. You see where I'm going with this? These wouldn't be too big, but they'd be noticeable, and females will be all over the biggest ones. A male's sexual display hurting its own survival isn't actually that unknown at all. Male peacocks who have the best tail feathers do mate more, but because of it, they have a harder time surviving from predators. But hey, if you spread your DNA around lots of times before dying anyway because you're just such a fabulous Chad, then it really doesn't matter, does it? Lastly, there's the weird banana thing. Like, okay, why does Tropius have a banana hanging under its chin? Like, it can't be a lure because we know that Tropius doesn't consume insects or anything like that, so what do you even do with it? Again though, sexual display can look weird as heck, so let's say sure, the males of these species will have some sort of banana-like growth under their chin that they use to impress females. You know, like how a male chicken has a comb on its head? Well, just imagine that but like upside down, and it'll vaguely resemble a banana, albeit much less bright in real life. Bananas weren't a thing until much later anyway. The group that they're in, called, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, only became a thing 80 million years ago. By the way, did you know that we share 50% of our DNA with bananas? Crazy, right? Well, actually that's not true. You may have seen that online somewhere, but it's completely false. It's actually 50% of our genes, only 1% of our DNA. Although, is it really a surprise that we're somehow related to bananas? I mean, come on, we were all the same thing like millions of years ago, so of course we're somehow related to bananas. Heck, you're more related to bananas than one of those humanoid aliens from fiction. Alright, am I done now? Yeah, I think I am. Wow, okay, so this animal will exist somewhere around the middle Jurassic, on an island somewhere. There's lots of islands right now, as Pangea just started breaking apart, and yeah, they could have easily walked on one of those islands. Still need a scientific name though. How about something like pseudosauropod? Yeah, that just means fake sauropod, but come on, it's what they look like. And plus, names don't always need to be overly complicated. So simple is the way to go sometimes. Alright, next up is ecology, I guess. Let's go! Since Tropius doesn't have a baby form, baby pseudosauropods will pretty much look like smaller versions of the adults. So mostly brown, some tufts of green, but that'll really be about it. The adults will just lay a bunch of eggs in the ground, just like sauropods, not really caring for them, and just seeing who survives, you know? Determining age and when they become an adult is really difficult, as some sauropods, like the largest ones, they got to 100, while some of the smaller ones not? Yeah, it's hard to determine, but either way, as soon as they become an adult, they will do all the things that adults do. Honestly, they'll be just eating plants all day. They're herbivores, their life isn't really that exciting. When mating season arrives, however, things get a little bit more spicy, with males doing all sorts of weird dances for females to get a chance to, you know, spread their seeds. Just imagine them shaking their wings and like shaking their hips and stuff. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a very, very sexy dance. Sauropods were believed to be social animals, living together in herds. However, these are much smaller than your usual sauropods, so they won't be that social, mostly just living on their own, but getting together when it's time for mating. After all, being social but then also later competing against others for females, yeah, that doesn't make much sense now, does it? Overall, they're pretty calm creatures, just eating, minding your own business, but best not to mess with them, as they can make themselves look bigger by standing on their back legs for a bit, which can scare away some predators. Their tails can also be used to dispatch of tinier annoyances, if necessary, like bugs and stuff. But that won't work against something bigger. So considering we're working with another extinction event that drastically changed the tides of history, I don't really think that the alpha nor beta timeline really works out well for this animal. So let's go with the gamma timeline. First one for that one as well, so exciting stuff. Alright, so we're dealing with a weird animal that evolved in a very weird way that lives on an island right after a mass extinction. How long will it survive? Until the Cretaceous? I don't think it would last that long. But again, that's up for you all to decide and theorize on. You know, I guess I somehow expected Tropius to take a little bit longer, but again, it's just a weird sauropod, so yeah, it didn't take that long. Again, though, I'm sure most of y'all were expecting me to go with sauropods, but as you all know, I go with the weird options that no one expects. But honestly, like, that's not even on purpose. Like, theropods just worked out the best. Like, none of this is done on purpose. I just go with the weird ones because they just work more. So which Pokemon line is up next? Well, usually what I like to do is have you all comment which one you want to see the most, then I get the most voted comments, put them on Patreon, and let the patrons decide for realsies. But I want to shake things up a little bit, so this time I will be choosing 2 lines myself that I already have some ideas for, and then the rest, 3 in total, will be chosen by the comment section down below, and then we'll just do things as usual. Oh, and a little tip, if you want to comment down your favorite Pokemon, but it's nowhere in the comment section, but you do see your second or third favorite Pokemon, I would recommend just commenting that one down instead, since it'll have a higher chance of actually being the next one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to see more of this series, I got more everywhere. I got real life types, I got other real life Pokemon, I got real life shorts too, which I use to, you know, quickly explain Pokemon that don't really need a whole episode, like Raticate, like it's just a big rat. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section down below, you know, algorithm and stuff. And if you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button for support, and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. But before I go, I want to give out a massive thank you to my assistant professor and lecturer patrons, Ty Burns, Michael Piccirilli, DeltaMajora, Gwen Joy, and Daelyn Knyght. Y'all are the best, and thank you for the support. And with that being said, I hope y'all have a good day, night, or morning, and as always, take care!